Hey, good morning, everybody. What do you say? It is Thursday, October 31, Halloween. Trick or treat here on the Bill Press Show. Good to see you today, and thank you for joining us as we bounce our way through all the issues of the day, the headlines of the day, whether it's happening here in our nation's capital, around the country, around the globe. We'll let you know what's going on. And, of course, take your calls at 866-55-PRESS. Get your comments on the news on Twitter at BP Show, and your comments also on Facebook at facebook.com/Bill Press Show. Well, Kathleen Sebelius made her long-awaited appearance on the Hill yesterday. Despite relentless attacks on the part of House Republicans, she more than held her own. She apologized for the problems with the website, and she vowed to fix them, said they're already underway, getting fixed, and that thing will soon be humming. President Obama, meanwhile, up in Boston, blamed bad apple insurance companies, he called them, for forcing some Americans out of their existing plans and requiring them to buy a different plan. Meanwhile, the extent of the NSA probing and spying just keeps growing and growing. Reported this morning that they have tapped into the operations of both Google and Yahoo on all overseas activity. And the Italian magazine Panorama reports that they were even spying on Pope Francis at that conclave in which he was elected, the new pope to succeed Benedict XVI. But NSA officials say the way we justify it is we keep citing September 11, September 11, September 11. How Bushian of them. Yes, indeed. Meanwhile, we're less than a week from that all-important governor's race in Virginia, and the Red Sox wrap it up at Fenway Park, the new world champions, all here on the Bill Press Show.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Oh, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork. Loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look. Your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your
likes
kids
you.
how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. you could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we have pep talkers standing by to get you motivated for your GED diploma. Text the name Terry to 69222 for a sympathetic pep talk.
You show people what you really are.
Or for a gentle pep talk, text the name Deborah.
You know you're going to make people very proud of you.
And if that's not enough, text the name Danny for an extreme pep talk.
Prove everyone wrong. Show them you're the boss.
Get your GED pep talk and find free GED classes. Text the name of the person you want a pep talk from to 69222.
Did you see the world differently? Did you celebrate the victory?
So today, I state clearly and with conviction America's commitment to seek the peace and security of a world without nuclear weapons.
Did you stand up against our greatest threat? Change the world.
Broadcasting around the nation, on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is the Bill Press Show.
Trick or treat. Hey, happy Halloween, everybody. And how do you like this? The latest, we find out that the NSA was also spying not just on Angela Merkel, they're spying on the Pope. Oh, my God. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's Thursday. Yes, that famous day, October 31. Sure, it's a big day for all of you. It's a big day for us. But we got a lot of news to talk about today on this October 31. And stuff you're going to want to talk about, know about, and talk about both. And that's what we do. We'll bring you up to date on the news here from our nation's capital, Washington, D.C. That's where we're located, right on Capitol Hill, right in the heart of the action. You can see the Capitol building from here. They can hear us from where they sit. We will bring you up to date on the news here, around the country, around the globe, and then leave it up to you to tell us what it all means to you, to your family, to your community. 866-55-PRESS. That's the toll-free number. And, of course, you can send us your comments on Twitter at BP Show and on Facebook at facebook.com/Bill Press Show, coming to you live on your local progressive talk radio station. Hello, all your radio heads out there. Thank you so much for making the program what it is. And look forward to hearing from you wherever you happen to be in this great land of ours. And don't forget, if you prefer to watch the show, you can do so on Free Speech TV. Two ways. Free Speech TV on the big screen, if you will. That's if you got a satellite dish. It's Dish Network or the DirecTV. Sorry, little brain fart there. And you can watch this video stream here. The video stream is at TawkrTV, TawkrTV, and that's a whole new operation, youtube.com/TawkrTV, which is reaching out now globally. People from all over the world watching that video stream. And excited to see the team every morning led by Peter Ogburn. Hello, Peter.
Hey.
What's up?
Happy Halloween, sir.
Happy Halloween.
None
of us are in costume this morning. I mean,
you mean you're not wearing a goofy mask? I'm sorry. I thought you were wearing the goofy mask.
I know. Some people, I don't have anything against adults who feel otherwise, but I consider Halloween a children's holiday, not for grown-ups, but
agreed.
I know that just whoever, having lived in West Hollywood.
Oh, well, I mean, every day is Halloween.
But that's the national. It's the national holiday in West Hollywood. Having lived there, having lived in San Francisco, and even in Washington D.C., I know there are a lot of adults. There will be people on the metro today. There'll be people everywhere wearing some kind of costume.
I can't remember the last time I actually dressed up for Halloween. Although there was a request early on.
I hate costume parties.
Yeah. Me too.
I've been to a lot of them.
The kids actually requested, they wanted me to dress in a costume for Halloween, which I said maybe I would. They had a whole plan. We were gonna go as the Avengers. So my youngest was gonna be Thor, and then my oldest was gonna be Captain America, and they wanted me to be the Hulk.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, okay, we could do that. But then they changed their mind. So they're different costumes, so I'm not dressing up.
Okay.
So don't worry.
All right. I know we have Alicia Cruz on the phones, of course, and Cyprian Bolding. He's not in costume either this morning. I thought he might be, but
he isn't. He dressed up. Yeah.
Oh,
look at him.
No, I can't see.
You have to look at him.
Oh no!
I can't tell who he is. Are you Rick James or are you Lil Jon?
Oh, Lord.
Please go watch the show today. Yeah. If you're listening, just find a computer or a TV.
No, just check out the video stream.
Oh, man.
All right, here we go. Yeah, and I'm telling you, let's not forget, huh? Let's just celebrate. Yes, indeed. Boston strong. They did it last night, no doubt about it. Here's the final call on appropriately a strikeout to end the game.
Koji ready. He turns on the rubber, the 2-2 home. Swing and a miss, he struck him out. The 2013 Red Sox are the world champions and Boston strong. Bedlam at Fenway Park as the Red Sox clinch the World Series at Fenway for the first time in 95 years.
Dave O'Brien on WEEI in Boston last night. Indeed, first time in 95 years. That was electric last night. That place was just charged up. Yeah,
you have to be a pretty heartless human being to not want to see the Red Sox win at Fenway.
At Fenway, yeah. I mean, if they'd won tonight, it still would have been great. But
sure.
Last night was, and boy, they started out, man. They just clobbered that first pitcher. I forget his name now, but. Waka, yeah, and he was formidable.
The Cardinals are a very, very good baseball team.
They are. You gotta hand it to them. They really are. But what a great game! What a great moment for Boston and David Ortiz. This is his third World Series win with the Red Sox. He said never gets old.
Amazing, it's never get old. I mean, this is something that. Every player look forward to be part of it, and not only be part of it, win it.
Win it, man. That's right. I see the pitch, I hit it.
I see the pitch, I hit it.
I see the pitch, I hit it.
You know?
And he was the most valuable player of the World Series, deservedly so. Great lineup for you today. Ellie Smeal, head of the Feminist Majority, will be here in studio with us, as well as the Reverend Barry Lynn on the latest threat to the separation of church and state. We'll have reporters in from The Hill, from Talking Points Memo, and from West Wing Reports. And the latest on NSA, you're not going to believe it. But first...
This is the Full Court Press.
And a couple of other stories making news. Speaking of the Red Sox, some people credit their successful season to their playoff beards. I'm sure you were watching and you saw some of them that looked,
oh my God,
frankly, a little homeless with those big beards.
Some of them look really good, and some of them just like stick out.
They looked a little
like
terrifying.
Duck Dynasty.
It did look a lot like
Carol
that.
is a huge baseball fan and watched every minute of every game. Every once in a while she'd turn to me and say, I don't like those beards. I don't like those beards.
And people had mixed reactions to them. Well, President Obama yesterday, when he was in Boston, he referenced the beards. He said that they've worked out so well for the Red Sox. He was thinking of growing a beard himself, but he said, quote, I tried to grow a beard, but Michelle, she wasn't having it.
Oh,
now
really? Yeah.
She's already said like you have to stop smoking. She's already on the health food kick. So even the free leader of the free world answers to somebody apparently.
I think she's right about that. You know, one Abraham Lincoln is enough.
He does have the whole, the adoration of Lincoln. He could grow that Lincoln beard. Second term, baby. We say farewell to AI, not American Idol, but Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson, the man LeBron James once called, quote, pound for pound the best player ever in the NBA. Allen Iverson called it quits yesterday. Whoa. It's been 3 years since he wore a jersey, so people might have already thought he'd retired. Iverson racked up 11 All-Star nods and an MVP award over his 14 seasons. Of those seasons, he spent 12 of them as a Philadelphia 76er, which is where he retired last night.
Yeah, I kind of forgotten about him.
Phenomenal basketball player.
Yeah, absolutely. But he's said 3 years.
Yeah,
he's been off the scene.
He's been done. Yeah, and a small guy is why he had such an impact. He was not as tall as some of the other guys. And workers in a Cincinnati federal building got a big surprise yesterday when a deer barged into the building through a window on the first floor. It happened around 1 o'clock yesterday afternoon, exactly. So there were plenty of people around to witness the spooked animal. SPCA came to the scene, helped corral the deer, and it ran off into nearby woods. They captured it, realized that its injuries were too severe, so they had to put the beast down. But that was the opportunity for local officials to remind residents that as the weather cools off, the deer are looking for shelter, and some buildings are not safe.
Well, this is the rutting season,
and there's
and they see the reflection in the glass sometimes, and they feel that I remember a deer going into a Dunkin' Donuts up in New Hampshire.
It happens. So it happens.
Yeah. So watch out, and watch out for the NSA. Although I got to tell you, after today's stories, you're going to realize, as I have, there ain't nothing we can do about it. They are like everywhere. They are everywhere, listening in on everything. And Americans don't seem to be too concerned about it. Europeans are a lot more upset about the spying of NSA than we are. So, I mean, every day it's like peeling the onion. And we've been talking about it a lot this week. It started out, by the way, we know all of this thanks to Edward Snowden, okay? I mean, let's give the guy credit. We know all of this. We would not know any of it if it were not for Edward Snowden, who saw it, knew it was wrong, and wanted us to know about it. Thank you, Edward Snowden. So, number one, I mean, we started out, right, they're keeping this mega database of every single phone call made in the United States. Totally unnecessary, totally unacceptable, total violation of privacy. Nobody gives a damn. Then we find out they're also monitoring our emails. At first, we were told just the emails going overseas. And they were told, no, actually, it's every email. Everything on your computer, every communication, every text, every IM, every email, everything, right? So then we come into starting the word about foreign leaders, foreign countries. The first was just foreign countries, the government communications among government leaders. Brazil, first of one, then Germany upset, then France upset. And then we find out it's not just the governments and the government leaders and business leaders and citizens in those countries. It's also, in the case of Angela Merkel, her personal private cell phone. She made that famous call to President Obama. Then we find out it's not just Germany, it's not just France, Spain, 60.5 million phone calls there in 1 month alone, December 2012, monitored by NSA. 35 countries, we're told. 35 countries we are monitoring their phone calls. Yesterday, I think this is the worst of all. How far will the NSA go? Yesterday, Panorama, an Italian weekly magazine, came out with word that the NSA was tapping the phones of the residents inside the Vatican, all calls made from that residence inside the Vatican, where Pope Francis was living before he became Pope, and still living today. And they may still be monitoring his phone calls, but they're monitoring all the calls of that conclave where Francis was elected Pope. Not even the Pope is beyond the reach of the NSA. And this morning, the New York Times reporting and the Washington Post that NSA is getting all of this information because what they have been able, one of the ways they're getting this information is they have been able to tap into get this, the fiber optic cables serving Google and Yahoo. So all of the emails, all of the information, can you imagine all of that data on Google and Yahoo, NSA has been able to tap into. How do they? I just don't get how the president keeps defending NSA. And I mean, all the White House will say is, we're conducting a review right now of our spying operations and what limits, if any, or what new parameters ought to be adopted. I gotta tell you, I think the president's just got to stand up and say, this is out of control. We are going way beyond where we need to go to keep this country safe. This is a mass invasion of privacy, and I won't stand for it. Instead, he is letting the NSA, sadly, in my opinion, the NSA just continue, again, to no bounds, to operate with no bounds at all on their activity. And how do they justify it? Well, thanks to Al Jazeera for this, by the way. They did a Freedom of Information Act request, and they got a document that was prepared for the NSA administrators, talking points. These are talking points on how they will defend this massive spying operation. And get this, in this document, there's one little part of it that is called sound bites that resonate. Yeah, these are things to say that are going to convince people it's okay if we're spying on you. It's okay if we're listening in on your phone call. And here's the statement they suggest that, like a James Clapper or Keith Alexander, head of Director of Intelligence or the head of the NSA, would say to Congress or to a reporter, quote, I much prefer to be here today explaining these programs than explaining another 9/11 event that we were not able to prevent. In other words, September 11, September 11, September 11, September 11. When you're doing anything wrong today in the spying operation, whether it's the CIA or the NSA or who the hell knows, right? What do? September 11, September 11. Are we dumb enough to fall for that? Are we gullible enough to fall for that? Are we sheep enough to fall for that? To me, it sounds so Bushian. Just like W and Cheney. There it is. 866-55-PRESS. Let's talk about it this Thursday morning.
Seen on Free Speech TV and online on TawkrTV. This is the Bill Press Show.
This is my computer.
This is your computer. Let's go on the internet.
Let's go. Click it.
Yes.
Okay.
I cursor in between the R and the E. Pressing down, I want you to just push the period.
She's gonna love me all over again.
That's it. Jamaica, here you go.
Here we go.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. And I did it by myself. Feel smarter.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay. So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Hey, thanks for stopping by. You know, I followed your character since the first episode. I'm a big fan. Big fan.
Thank you.
And listen, your storyline, it makes for incredible TV drama. Thing is, your drug use is very adult content. Too adult for the kids. So I'm gonna have to block you.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, have a good one.
You're a nice lady.
This is the Bill Press Show.
All right, 26 minutes after the hour, talking about the latest information on NSA. It just keeps getting more and more scary on this Halloween 2013. Your call's welcome at 866-55-PRESS. Just reading a little more during the break here. I mentioned that soundbite that resonates, keep saying 9/11, 9/11, 9/11. Sounds. Remember that we had that clip one time of all the people at the Republican convention in 2004 in New York, 9/11, 9/11, 9/11. General Keith Alexander, when he was testifying in front of Congress, he didn't use that the proposed soundbite word for word, but he did say this, quote, "It's much more important for this country that we defend this nation and take the beatings than it is to give up a program that would result in this nation being attacked." Everybody knew what he was talking about. Yeah, well, I want to know, after we've been tapping Angela Merkel's private cell phone for 11 years, exactly how much did we learn from her personal phone calls about terrorist activity around the world? Or how about my phone calls? Or how about yours? Mark is calling from Rochelle, Illinois. Hey, Mark, what do you say?
Yeah, hey, Bill. Thanks for taking my call.
Glad you're there.
You know, I think one of the things that's really, really bad about this, or that's unfortunate about this, is that when Congress or the United States in general declared a war on terror, we brought in every single manifestation of terror or war that there is. It just amazes me that it seems to have run amok. It's like a big war machine that's kind of gotten out of control. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't surprise me that the NSA is doing what they're doing, because there's really nobody to guard against this. But it doesn't surprise me, and I don't think it's right. But the thing is that it amazes me that we've let it run this long, and they've gone to the point of where they have to protect the world. They seem to have to protect the world by tapping into everything that everybody's doing.
Yeah. Hey, Mark, we're out of time, but I really appreciate your call, and I am with you all the way. And what does surprise me, and probably surprises you, is that most Americans are not more upset about this. The French and the Germans are just outraged.
This is the Bill Press Show.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where that ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
Columbine.
Virginia Tech.
Tucson.
Aurora.
Fort Hood. Oak Creek.
Newtown.
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 How many more?
How many more? How many more colleges? How many more classrooms?
How many more movie theaters?
How many more houses of faith?
How many more shopping malls?
How many more street corners?
How many more?
How many more?
Enough.
Enough.
Enough. Enough.
Demand a plan.
Right now. As a mom.
As a dad. As a friend. As a husband.
As a wife.
As an American.
As an American.
As an American.
As a human being.
For the children of Sandy Hook.
Demand a plan. No more lists of names. It's not too soon.
It's too late.
Now is the time.
Before we all know someone who loved someone on that list.
No more lists.
No more.
Who they might have been. No more.
If we had just done something yesterday. It's time.
We can do better than this.
We can do better than this.
It's time.
It's time.
It's time for our leaders to act.
Demand a plan. Right now.
Right now.
You! Demand it!
Enough.
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 None of us would want to be told we can't marry the person we love. As Americans, we believe in freedom. That's what I fought for as a Marine, and that's what we believe in as Republicans. Freedom means freedom for everyone. I didn't used to understand the importance of same-sex marriage, but after learning my brother was gay, I wanted the same rights for him. He was the best man at my wedding, and I want to be the best man at his. It's only fair that Calvin should have the freedom to marry the person he loves, too.
It's time for marriage.
You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Here we go, 34 minutes after the hour now, Thursday morning. On Halloween Day 2013, we've been talking about the NSA and the latest evidence of their massive spying operation. It keeps getting worse and worse every day. Another shoe drops, it seems. The other big story we touched on briefly yesterday, which I find fascinating, is that Forbes magazine is out with its list of the most powerful people on the planet. Now, they have listed 72. Okay, that is one person for every 100 million people on the planet.
Okay.
It's a nice way to round it off, right?
Okay.
Mostly men. There are not too many women on the list. But the list to me is just fascinating. We don't have time for all 72, but let's take the top 10. Okay. Number 10 is Michael Duke. Everybody knows who he is, right?
Who he?
Michael Duke. I had no idea who
I have
he
no
was.
clue who this dude is.
Right. Michael Duke is the CEO of Walmart.
Okay. I have heard of Walmart.
Biggest business in the country.
Yeah.
Right. And most profitable. By the way, he even outranks David Cameron, who happens to be number 11, who's the Prime Minister of the UK, head of Walmart.
It's kind of messed up.
Number 9 is Mario Draghi, who I never heard of either. He's the president of the European Central Bank. You could see why he'd be that powerful.
Yeah.
Number 8 is King Abdullah of Saudi Arabia. Sure, with all of that wealth, all of that power. Number 7, Ben Bernanke, head of the Fed here in the United States, soon to be Janet Yellen. I can see that one as well. Bill Gates comes in number 6 because such a successful businessman, now such a huge philanthropist with all that money to spend and spending on very good things around the planet. I see that. Number 5, Angela Merkel. She's so powerful that we tap her phone. Chancellor of Germany. The only woman in the top 12. Number 4, Pope Francis. Yeah, obviously a lot of influence with a lot of people. Number 3, the president of China, Xi Jinping.
Sure.
Right? Got to be up there.
Yeah, absolutely.
But here's the big surprise, I think. The big surprise in the top 2. Number 2, Barack Obama. Number 2, not number 1. And number 1, Vladimir Putin. Unbelievable. Vladimir Putin over Barack Obama, according to Forbes, as the most powerful person of all on the planet. So this just broke yesterday, and we were wondering, what the hell? How Vladimir Putin? I mean, the United States is clearly the richest, the most powerful country on the planet, and Russia. I mean, what works over there? What's working? Nothing, right? Trains don't even run on time. So I was looking a little further, and here's how Forbes gets there. They say, first we ask, does the candidate have power over lots of people? Right. Pope Francis
he meets
does.
that. Yeah,
Michael
sure.
Duke does.
Sure.
Vladimir Putin does. Second, we assess the financial resources controlled by each person.
I was going to say, a lot of...
Some of them more than others, like the banker, Walmart, the king of Saudi Arabia.
Money plays a big part of this. I mean, you know, the bank stuff, the Walmart.
Right.
Yeah.
Bernanke.
Bernanke.
Okay. Third, we determine if the candidate is powerful in multiple spheres. That's why Bill Gates, they say, is on the list, because he's a billionaire, he's a philanthropist, he's chair of the world's #1 software company. So he's got several things going for him. And then finally, we make sure the candidates actively use their power. And Putin does. And that's where Putin really comes in, number one.
Yeah, I can totally see that, by the way.
Look at what happened with Syria, right? I mean, it wouldn't have happened except Putin jumped in there and said, we'll make a deal, we'll intercede here. They've been supporting Assad all along, but they jumped in, and thanks, you got to say, to his intervention, Syria is now in the process of turning over and destroying its chemical weapons, and it wouldn't have happened without Vladimir Putin.
I totally get that. Yeah, our president has so much power that he doesn't use that, I could totally understand where they're coming from. And besides, he might have been #1 if he hadn't admitted yesterday that he wants to grow a beard and his wife won't let him.
That's true. It's hard to say he's the most powerful person on the planet, right? When he can't even decide to grow.
When he says, I want to grow a beard, but my wife won't let me. It doesn't exactly exude power.
Beard. I find this really fascinating, though. Let's talk about it. 866-55-PRESS, 866-55-77377. And if you bear with me, I know I got to bring
That's
the
fine.
microphone
You do what you need to do over
here. I wanted to go back to, if I can. This is going to be tricky here.
Michelle also said that she put the kibosh on him smoking, right? So
we know
there was that.
We know who wears the pants around the White House.
She probably gets on him when she finds out he went to Junior's for cheesecake in Brooklyn.
I'm just looking to see other women on the list. Mark Zuckerberg, by the way, comes in at number 24.
Okay. Which I totally get.
Yeah.
Youngest billionaire.
Right. No, the next woman on the list is down at number 20, the president of Brazil. The woman who refused to come to the United States because of the spying operation. And she's followed by the president of the Indian National Congress, Sonia Gandhi. Number 21. And then you got to go Benjamin Netanyahu comes in at 26.
I keep waiting to hear Hillary.
Michael Bloomberg, 29.
That's impressive.
The Koch brothers are number 31 and 32.
It's funny how they come as a package deal on all these lists.
They always come as a package deal. Christine Lagarde at the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, number 35. But you can see what's that? 4 women so far. Bill Clinton, number 43.
All right.
Where the hell is Hillary?
I guess now obviously
she's still pretty
she wields power, but I mean, she is sort of in limbo at this particular moment.
Virginia Ramati is ahead of IBM. I did a CEO of IBM. Never heard of her before either. Margaret Chan, 59, the World Health Organization, head of the World Health Organization. Boy, John Boehner, number 66. Jill Abramson.
What?
Yeah, 66.
Come on. He can't even control his own caucus.
Janet Yellen is at the very bottom, number 72. Hillary is not on the list. I'm going to scroll through it again unless I missed it here.
Well, we'll make sure to check the list next year. I'm sure she'll be on it next year, right? Or I know a lot of progressives have their fingers crossed that she'll be on it next year or the year after when she announces she's running for president.
Next year she could be on top of the list.
Yeah, right.
Nope. No Hillary Clinton.
Okay.
And from what my count is, fewer than 10 women on the list. Anyhow,
that's messed up.
And we didn't make it again this year. Damn it. We also didn't make the list of the Fortune 500, the most powerful, most of the wealthiest people on the planet.
There's always people's sexiest man alive, Bill.
I'm holding back. I'm holding back for that one. I'd rather be on the list of the world's wealthiest than the world's most powerful.
Me too.
Anyway.
I'd rather be rich than pretty.
Hey, when we come back, Kathleen Sebelius on the Hill yesterday on healthcare. How did she do, and what's going to happen? Hunter Walker. I'm sorry, that's right. Hunter Walker is talking to us about the mayor's race in New York. Got that one wrong. It's Halloween. What the hell? I'm already celebrating. Pretty spooky.
This is the Bill Press Show.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where that ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
Columbine. Virginia Tech.
Tucson.
Aurora.
Fort Hood. Oak Creek.
Newtown.
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 How many more?
How many more? How many more colleges? How many more classrooms?
How many more movie theaters?
How many more houses of faith?
How many more shopping malls?
How many more street corners?
How many more?
How many more?
Enough. 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 Enough.
Demand a plan.
Right now. As a mom.
As a dad. As a friend. As a husband.
As a wife.
As an American.
As an American.
As an American.
As a human being.
For the children of Sandy Hook.
Demand a plan. No more lists of names. It's not too soon.
It's too late.
Now is the time.
Before we all know someone who loved someone on that list.
No more lists.
No more.
Who they might have been. No more.
If we had just done something yesterday. It's time.
We can do better than this.
We can do better than this.
It's time.
It's time.
It's time for our leaders to act.
Demand a plan. Right now.
Right now.
You! Demand it!
Enough.
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 None of us would want to be told we can't marry the person we love. As Americans, we believe in freedom. That's what I fought for as a Marine, and that's what we believe in as Republicans. Freedom means freedom for everyone. I didn't used to understand the importance of same-sex marriage, but after learning my brother was gay, I wanted the same rights for him. He was the best man at my wedding, and I want to be the best man at his. It's only fair that Calvin should have the freedom to marry the person he loves, too.
It's time for marriage.
On your radio, on TV, and online. This is the Bill Press Show.
13 minutes before the top of the hour. Closing in on the big mayor's race up in New York City with a big debate, last debate of the campaign last evening. We've been checking in every once in a while. We do again today with Hunter Walker, national affairs reporter for Talking Points Memo from New York. On our newsline this morning, Hunter, good morning. Good to talk to you.
Good morning. Thanks for having me back.
So we're talking next Tuesday, right? It's Election Day?
Yep, and it is thrilling at the moment.
Well, thrilling, it's a little one-sided, no? How wide is the gap now?
I mean, the different polls are, there's a slight range there, but basically de Blasio is at about 40% ahead of Joe Lhota.
40%, yeah.
Yes.
And is he still actively campaigning?
Everybody is still pretty much, running. I mean, last night there was a debate, and as always, these major mayoral debates have been like the presidential ones, where you get like 30 emails from each candidate.
Uh-huh.
So they're both going at it. I think de Blasio has certainly stepped down his availability with the press a little bit, and is not on the trail as much as he was during the primary. But, they're very much still campaigning despite the massive gap.
Well, why would de Blasio even show up with a debate with Lhota at this point?
Well, that's a good question. There's two debates that are mandated by the city's campaign finance board. And de Blasio has taken money from the public matching fund system.
I see.
He only showed up to the debates that were mandated by the CFB. There was another one that Lhota did by himself with the Independence Party candidate. And actually, that night, I ended up, I biked past de Blasio's headquarters on the way home, and the volunteers there were not even watching the debate. He was not taking part in.
Now, there have been a lot of stories I've read in the Times that de Blasio is meeting privately with a lot of Wall Street people, sort of saying, okay, yes, I'm a progressive, and I've said some pretty nasty things about you, but we're going to be able to work together. Have you looked into that?
Yeah, he's done that a bit. It's been a very interesting thing because the conventional wisdom in New York is that you could not necessarily win a mayoral election with this kind of populist rhetoric. You could not upset Wall Street and real estate. And de Blasio, there's sort of a circuit candidates have to go on, and it lasts well over a year. And in late 2011 and early 2012, de Blasio was at these forums with the others at places like the Association for a Better New York and the Real Estate Board, where he was sort of assuring them, listen, I'm going to be good for you guys too, but I'm going to tax you if you make over $500K. And this is sort of chapter 2 to those meetings. Like, okay, guys, I'm winning, but I promise it won't be too terrible.
Yeah. And is he getting any support from them? They have to know he's going to be the next mayor, right? So.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like de Blasio is still taking in a lot of donations, especially considering the fact it's pretty obvious he doesn't really need them. So, everybody wants to make friends with the next mayor.
Sure. And speaking of ghosts of the past, right? Anthony Weiner pops up again yesterday, blaming it all on the New York Times, right?
Yeah, if you remember, when he rolled out his campaign, the first move was this ridiculous puff piece in the New York Times Magazine.
Oh, yes.
And basically, this was GQ sort of dumping their notebooks after a big feature on Anthony Weiner. And this quote that they had left over was Weiner basically saying, the problem was that when I went to launch, I thought the New York Times would be tough on me, but they were not. So I didn't have an opportunity to tell you guys I'd still been investing. What was funny about that is, first off, the writer immediately fired back and noted that Weiner and Huma Abedin asked for him specifically based on other puff pieces he'd written.
No.
But Also, my old colleagues at the New York Observer published a list of all the early appearances, including some where Weiner was specifically asked about sexting, and absolutely did not address this when he had a chance for things to be a bit tougher. So it was a preposterous statement from him following a full campaign of them.
And Anthony Weiner, of all people, should know that this is what we do in the media, right? We make them and we break them, right? That's our. That's our specialty. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, yesterday, for once, Anthony Weiner was actually not the most ridiculous moment of the race. Right after the debate, I got what may have been the finest press release of all time from Joe Lhota. It was entitled, "New York Loves an Underdog and I Love New York." He made the case that he was Rocky and de Blasio was Ivan Drago, complete with the picture of de Blasio photoshopped onto the Russian boxer from the Rocky movies, complete with hammer and sickle. To blow that communist dog whistle nice and loud.
I must break you.
Oh, yeah, really?
That's awesome.
If nothing else works, right, we're ready to get that. Let's brand him as a commie. Yeah.
That's awesome.
With a hammer and sickle. Oh, my God.
I think it's the first photoshopped press release I've ever received during a political campaign.
Frame it, Hunter. Frame it,
yeah,
right?
That's cool.
Yeah, that'll be a classic. They'll be selling that thing on eBay for a long time. All right. Well, Hunter, enjoy it. It's been fun following this race with you. I appreciate your time very, very much. All right.
Thanks so much.
Talk to you, man. All right, we got to find another reason to stay in touch with Hunter Walker.
Yeah, absolutely. It's New York, man.
Yeah.
There's always something going on.
It's always, well, to talk about how de Blasio's doing.
Sure. Mayor de Blasio.
Progressives around the country see de Blasio as the great new leader of the progressive movement, which he is. He's saying all the right stuff and doing all the right things.
This is the Bill Press Show.
So this is my computer.
This is your computer. Let's go on the internet.
Let's go. Click it.
Yes.
Okay.
I cursor in between the R and the E. Pressing down, I want you to just push the period.
She's gonna love me all over again.
That's it. Jamaica, here you go.
Here we go.
Good job.
Thank you. And I did it by myself. Feel smarter.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay. So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Hey, thanks for stopping by. I followed your character since the first episode. I'm a big fan. Big fan. Thank you. And listen, your storyline, it makes for incredible TV drama. Thing is, your drug use is very adult content. Too adult for the kids. So I'm gonna have to block you.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, have a good one.
You're a nice lady.
is the Bill Press Show.
All right, as we end up this hour, looking ahead, we're going to talk to Jonathan Easley from The Hill about Kathleen Sebelius. Got that one right. And then West Wing Reports publisher Paul Brandis will be in studio with us. Hey, a couple of quick stories. Thanks to our good friend Dick Rosengarten, publisher of California Political Week out in Los Angeles, or otherwise known as Cal Peak. Number one, he reports that Lieutenant Governor Gavin Newsom wants to head up the Legalize Pot in California initiative. We knew that other states would follow, Washington and Colorado. California may be next. And secondly, Dick comes up, I think, with the best word I've heard. I'm surprised nobody else is using it for the whole healthcare mess with the website. Snafu. An old GI term. Situation normal, all effed up. Snafu, it is.
The Bill Press Show.
You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Hey, good morning, everybody. What do you say? It is Thursday, October 31, Halloween. Trick or treat here on the Bill Press Show. Good to see you today, and thank you for joining us as we bounce our way through all the issues of the day, the headlines of the day, whether it's happening here in our nation's capital, around the country, around the globe. We'll let you know what's going on. And, of course, take your calls at 866-55-PRESS. Get your comments on the news on Twitter at BP Show, and your comments also on Facebook at facebook.com/Bill Press Show. Well, Kathleen Sebelius made her long-awaited appearance on the Hill yesterday. Despite relentless attacks on the part of House Republicans, she more than held her own. She apologized for the problems with the website, and she vowed to fix them, said they're already underway, getting fixed, and that thing will soon be humming. President Obama, meanwhile, up in Boston, blamed bad apple insurance companies, he called them, for forcing some Americans out of their existing plans and requiring them to buy a different plan. Meanwhile, the extent of the NSA probing and spying just keeps growing and growing. Reported this morning that they have tapped into the operations of both Google and Yahoo on all overseas activity. And the Italian magazine Panorama reports that they were even spying on Pope Francis at that conclave in which he was elected, the new pope to succeed Benedict XVI. But NSA officials say the way we justify it is we keep citing September 11, September 11, September 11. How Bushian of them. Yes, indeed. Meanwhile, we're less than a week from that all-important governor's race in Virginia, and the Red Sox wrap it up at Fenway Park, the new world champions. All here on the Bill Press Show.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Oh, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork, loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look. Your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your
likes
kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
If If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we have pep talkers standing by to get you motivated for your GED diploma. Text the name Terry to 69222 for a sympathetic pep talk.
You show people what you really are.
Or for a gentle pep talk, text the name Deborah.
You know you're going to make people very proud of you.
And if that's not enough, text the name Danny for an extreme pep talk.
Prove everyone wrong. Show them you're the boss.
Get your GED pep talk and find free GED classes. Text the name of the person you want a pep talk from to 69222.
Did you see the world differently? Did you celebrate the victory?
So today, I state clearly and with conviction America's commitment to seek the peace and security of a world without nuclear weapons.
Did you stand up against our greatest threat? Change the world.
Broadcasting around the nation, on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is the Bill Press Show.
Trick or treat. Happy Halloween, folks. And NSA up to its worst tricks ever. Latest report is that we are tapping the phone of Pope Francis. Is nothing sacred in the world of NSA? Apparently not. No, nothing and nobody. What do you say? Good morning, everybody. It is the Bill Press Show. Happy Thursday. Happy Halloween. Thursday, October 31. Of course, we welcome you to the program and to our recap of the stories of the day, the news of the day, the exciting things to talk about today. We'll tell you what's going on. You tell us what it means to you. Give us a call whether you're listening on your local Progressive Talk radio station, watching on Free Speech TV, or watching on TawkrTV, youtube.com/TawkrTV. Give us a call at 866-55-PRESS. Send us your comments at BP Show. That's our Twitter handle. Or on Facebook at facebook.com/BillPressShow. Join the team here led by Peter Ogburn. Hello, hello.
Happy Halloween, sir.
Happy Halloween. I'm sorry none of us are in costume. Well, neither Peter nor I are in costume.
Some of us might be in costume.
That's right. Alicia Cruz, she's got the phones covered. And then there's always Cyprian.
There he is.
Who is out today, and we have the long-haired...
We're trying to figure out just who the hell he is, because he kind of looks like It looks like Lil Wayne.
Yeah,
he could be. He looks like Lil Jon. He could be Bob Marley. Someone said Whoopi Goldberg, Tracy Chapman, Rick James.
Whoopi.
He looks.
Only Cyprian would come in as Whoopi.
He looks like Slash from Guns N' Roses almost with the glasses on. Yeah.
At any rate,
by the way, if I can,
yes.
I have to point out my annual PSA for Halloween. If you have children, the greatest grift in parenthood is Halloween. Because when you come in from trick-or-treating and you have to check the candy to make sure it's safe,
yes,
you get to go in and you get your vig. You get to pick whichever candy you want first. Come on, you didn't do that?
Damn right I did.
Yeah, of course. Of course you did.
All right, and I just want to know that if everybody lives in Capitol Hill area, Carol will be and I will be at the door tonight. Carol there with her clicker. Last night we had 133.
Last year.
Last year.
I hope it didn't show up last night.
No, last year.
They don't get any candy.
133 little children at the door. And then we ran out of candy, we turned out all the lights and went to bed.
Adios.
All right, adios, yeah. Hey, how about it? Yesterday, the First Lady, while President Obama was up in Boston, he didn't go by Fenway Park after all. Drove by an hour before the game. Boy, what discipline. Got on Air Force One and came home, man. I would have been in that stadium. President of the United States, you can get a seat anytime, anywhere, right?
This goes back to the Forbes list we were talking about, having the power and being able to use it.
Yep.
He had the power to go to that game.
He's the second most powerful person on the planet. According to Forbes, he had the power to go there, right? He just said, you give me a seat or there will be no game.
That's right. That's right.
Hey, all right. At any rate, while he was away, the First Lady had a couple of very, very important guests at the White House from Sesame Street. Elmo, the new voiced Elmo, and Rosita.
How do you guys feel about getting kids pumped up and excited about eating healthy foods?
It's wonderful. Emma loves healthy foods. Yeah, Emma thinks that fruits and vegetables are delicious.
Oh, Elmo likes fruits and vegetables. I don't like the new voice for Elmo.
I don't either.
No.
I don't either. I smell a rat. Right off the bat, I heard that, and I said, that's not Elmo.
No, I don't want to hear that squeaky voice singing Elmo's song either. Here we go. Coming up, Paul Brandis is going to join us this hour to talk about, from West Wing Reports, his feature of Hypocrite of the Month. We'll kick off the hour with Jonathan Easley from The Hill about Kathleen Sebelius on The Hill yesterday. And Ellie Smeal, president of Feminist Majority, up in the next hour in studio with us. But first,
this is the Full Court Press.
Here are a couple of other stories making news. Leave it to PETA to make me feel bad for cockroaches. The People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, they are calling for a Michigan company's plan to develop a kit that will allow people to implant electrodes into cockroaches and then control them with their smartphones. They are asking them to kill those plans. It is a kit that essentially shows children how to take a live cockroach, cut it open, and insert electrodes, and then through a smartphone app, you control those electrodes to make the cockroach move whichever way you want.
Well, thank God for PETA for bringing attention to this. There's so many things wrong with that. How do you cut the cockroach without killing it, right? I mean, these are not... And what do you, hold the cockroach in your hand or you do a little cut and put an electrode in it? These are not surgeons that are doing this, right? Carefully implanting something. I mean, and why cockroaches, right?
I mean, everybody sort of universally dislikes them, but
you can but
still,
so the idea you would control them like you do with like a car,
a remote control car,
right, or a sailboat or something like that, right? Yeah. What's next? Dogs and cats? And,
oh God!
I mean, seriously,
no.
This is outrageous.
Yeah,
it's PETA.
Terrible story. Celebrity chef gets served. Guy Fieri, the celebrity chef, was caught on tape brawling with his hairdresser earlier this week. The chef, known for his spiky blonde hair and terrible food, was filmed in his SUV, while his hairdresser, a man named Ariel Ramirez, violently swung punches into Fieri's side of the car while screaming, "You blanking blank head." I think you could figure out what I'm trying to say there. A rep for the chef says that it was just horsing around, but the video shows a different story.
What did he do? Cheat him, not pay him for his haircut or something?
Who knows? Who even knows? But yeah, so. And congratulations to the Boston Red Sox. They are the winners of the World Series. I could give you all the details, but I'd rather leave that to Dave O'Brien from WEEI.
Koji ready. He turns on the rubber, the 2-2 home. Swing and a miss, he struck him out. The 2013 Red Sox are the world champions and Boston strong. Bedlam at Fenway Park as the Red Sox clinch the World Series at Fenway for the first time in 95 years.
The World Series MVP was David Ortiz, who ended up contributing about a third of the Red Sox offense during the series. Yeah. Just a beast in the offseason.
Yeah, rightfully so, David Ortiz. Boston strong, as so many people have said. They went from worst to first, and that was an exciting game last night. A well-played series by both teams, by the way. Got to say that, but we were pulling for Boston, and it was exciting to see them win decisively last night, 6-1. So, much anticipated testimony on Capitol Hill yesterday. Of course, HHS Secretary Kathleen Sebelius in front of the House Commerce and Energy Committee. And as expected, she was grilled intensively and sometimes aggressively and sometimes hostilely by Republicans, and for the most part questioned and yet defended by Democrats. Jonathan Easley was there for The Hill, reporter for the great newspaper, The Hill. Okay, I'm a columnist for The Hill, so I'm a little biased about it, of course. And Jonathan joins us on our news line this morning. Hey, John, good morning.
Hey, good morning.
So, Kathleen Sebelius, did they, how did she do? Let's say, did she hold her own?
I think she held her own. I was kind of leading up to it. It seemed like it was going to be one of the more contentious hearings that you're likely to see up on Capitol Hill.
Right.
She'd been sniping kind of back and forth with her Republican critics leading up to it. I think dozens of them now have called on her to resign, and she said, I don't work for them, I work for the president, and so on. But when she walked into the hearing room and she walked up to the front panel and she shook the hand of Fred Upton, who's the Republican chairman, and Marsha Blackburn, who's been one of her biggest critics.
Right.
She was, smiling at least early on, and then when they posted her testimony a day ahead of time, and there was no apology in there. It was just kind of the boilerplate kind of things that she'd been saying, but she kind of shocked everyone, and she apologized, and throughout the entire hearing took complete responsibility for everything that had gone wrong. So I think that kind of contrition really might have knocked some of the Republicans kind of off their axis, and they weren't really expecting it. No one was, and so I think it kind of went better than some people might have thought.
Yeah, let's listen to that because I thought she really put it out there, and as you say, maybe caught them off guard. Here's how she opened up.
So let me say directly to these Americans, you deserve better. I apologize. I'm accountable to you for fixing these problems, and I'm committed to earning your confidence back by fixing the site.
Yeah, pretty direct at that, huh?
Very, very direct. And I think you're right. I think it did catch some of the Republicans off guard. Might have.
And what do we learn?
Softened their edge.
What do we learn, Jonathan, about what's being? I mean, the important question: what's being done to fix it? Was there any confidence that came out that they were on top of this?
Well, so they have the November 30th deadline now, where they're saying it's going to be running smoothly for most users, but they can't miss that deadline. That's critical. There's going to be a lot of pressure to hit that. CMS has been having daily updates, kind of on the status of things, but really they're very broad. Just we're hitting these items in our punch tickets. Here's some areas where things are better, but I mean the website was down throughout most of Sebelius's testimony yesterday. I mean that was just another embarrassing aspect, kind of this whole debacle of a rollout. So, I mean, the bottom line is they have to hit that November 30th deadline.
It actually crashed while she was testifying, didn't it?
It did, yeah. And I mean, you had lawmakers holding up iPads showing her. It was just kind of, CMS is saying that the crash wasn't their fault. It's this Verizon Terramark that runs this federal data hub. But it just doesn't matter at this point.
So we're talking about the website failures. That's what she was originally called to testify about. But since then, this other issue has come up of Americans losing their health care plan and forced to buy a new one, contradictory to what the president assured everybody during the campaign. Was that part of did that come up part of the conversation yesterday, and how did she defend that?
Yeah, it did come up, and she defended the president, which is what a good administration official should do. And
of course, yeah,
yeah. So and she said it's the administration is now arguing that it's something like 95% will get to keep their policies. Those who don't will get enrolled in better ones, possibly cheaper ones through federal subsidies. But it was such a direct talking point, such a critical one that the president had been using that it's really given Republicans a lot of additional ammo in going out of this, saying, "See, we've been saying this the whole time, and now we're kind of we're watching it happen in real time."
I saw the Washington Post gave unusual, but gave President Obama 4 Pinocchios for that statement. That everybody who has an insurance plan that they like will be able to keep it. It simply was not true. Did Secretary Sebelius say the president was wrong, maybe, or exaggerated to make a point, or?
No, she didn't. She stood by that one, and the administration is kind of it's putting Democrats in a difficult spot because they're now trying to parse words for something that's just a little soundbite. But basically, what they're saying is that, well, you would have been able to keep your plan, but it's the insurance company that's changing it. But I mean, the bottom line is the law is requiring the insurance company to change it. So, I mean, it's a circular argument that's just like, it's completely a self-inflicted wound, really, for Democrats.
Well, I have to say, we have had a couple of members of Congress on the program here, Congressman John Yarmouth from Kentucky and Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky from Illinois, both of whom said just flat out, the president misspoke. It's not as bad as saying Iraq has weapons of mass destruction when they don't, right? But that the president would have been better if he had said 99% of Americans, or by far most Americans, will be able to keep their plan. So they didn't try to defend it; they just said flat out, it wasn't exactly
right. I mean, I thought Sebelius did a good job as she could in defending the remark just by parsing the words like we were talking about. You can get into this semantic argument, and then by that time, the lawmaker that's questioning you, their time is up. So it wasn't a disaster for her defending it yesterday.
Right. Well, Jonathan, it was an important hearing, and I think Republicans might have been disappointed because they didn't get what they wanted. But Kathleen, look, she's a former insurance commissioner. She's a former governor, right? She's tough. She's been around the track, and I agree with you. I think she more than held her own. Thanks, Jonathan, for your good reporting, and thanks for joining us this morning.
My pleasure. Thanks,
Jonathan Easley with The Hill, thehill.com. Check it out. Even if you don't live in Washington, it's a newspaper just for Capitol Hill, but that's an important constituency. But you can read it online at thehill.com.
On your radio, on TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
This is my computer.
This is your computer. Let's go on the internet.
Let's go. Click it.
Yes.
Okay.
I cursor in between the R and the E. Pressing dot, I want you to just push the period.
She's gonna love me all over again.
That's it. Jamaica, here you go.
Here we go.
Good job.
Thank you. And I did it. I'm gonna feel smarter.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay. So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Hey, thanks for stopping by. You know, I followed your character since the first episode. I'm a big fan. Big fan.
Thank you.
And listen, your storyline, it makes for incredible TV drama. Thing is, your drug use is very adult content. Too adult for the kids. So I'm gonna have to block you.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, have a good one.
You're a nice lady.
On your radio, on TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
Make it 26 minutes after the hour now. Paul Brandis, publisher of West Wing Reports, will be here in studio with us for the next half hour on the news of the day. We're just talking about Kathleen Sebelius and her testimony yesterday, apologizing for problems with the website. The president has told her she's got to fix it, and she told members of Congress yesterday she's busy doing just that. Donald is calling out from Aurora, Illinois. Hey, Donald, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, what's up?
Well, the thing is the American people seem to be always so angry. Here he's trying to get them an Affordable Care Act for the health care that they've been screaming about for years, because they were raising us and dropping us and everything else. I would throw that right back at the American people. Say, you want to know something? I tried. You people you're not really ready for it. I would stop the whole thing and go right back to the way it was.
Well, that'll fix them. Yeah. I hear you. And you know what? Donald, sometimes President Obama might be tempted to do that, but I don't think.
I'm sure he thinks it.
Right. I don't think he will, and I don't think he should. But I just want to quickly, in the time we have left here, again, put this in perspective. This whole idea that some people are going to lose their health plans, which is true. But you got to know, remember these numbers. 80% of Americans already get health care through their workplace. They are not affected at all. Another 15% were never able to buy insurance before. Now they can under the Affordable Care Act with a federal subsidy. So they're not part of this question at all either. We're down now to 5% of the American people who have health care that they pay for themselves. Of those 5%, some of them are going to get a letter from the insurance company. And here's what President Obama says if you get such a letter.
So if you're getting one of these letters, just shop around in the new marketplace. That's what it's for.
That's the point. So you do have to, if the insurance company, badass insurance company, drops you, you got to get another plan. But then you can shop around in the health exchange. And as a result of that, some of those people, some of the 5% will have to change. And some of those people who have to change will pay more. But most of them will qualify for a federal subsidy and get a better plan and pay less. So that's what this deal is all about. The Republicans, of course, are trying to capture it and seize on it as one more attempt to kill or delay or defund Obamacare, which just ain't going to happen. Paul Brandis joins us next.
This is the Bill Press Show.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where that ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
Columbine, Virginia Tech,
Tucson,
Aurora,
Fort Hood, Oak Creek, Newtown,
Newtown,
Newtown.
Newtown.
How many more?
How many more? How many more colleges? How many more classrooms?
How many more movie theaters?
How many more houses of faith?
How many more shopping malls?
How many more street corners?
How many more?
How many more?
Enough.
Enough.
Enough. Enough.
Demand a plan.
Right now. As a mom.
As a dad, as a friend, as a husband,
As a wife.
as an American.
As an American.
As an American.
As a human being.
For the children of Sandy Hook.
Demand a plan. No more lists of names. It's not too soon.
It's too late.
Now is the time.
Before we all know someone who loved someone on that list.
No more lists.
No more.
Who they might have been. No more.
If we had just done something yesterday. It's time.
We can do better than this.
We can do better than this.
It's time.
It's time.
It's time for our leaders to act. Demand a plan. Right now.
Right now.
You! Demand it!
Enough.
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 None of us would want to be told we can't marry the person we love. As Americans, we believe in freedom. That's what I fought for as a Marine, and that's what we believe in as Republicans. Freedom means freedom for everyone. I didn't used to understand the importance of same-sex marriage, but after learning my brother was gay, I wanted the same rights for him. He was the best man at my wedding, and I want to be the best man at his. It's only fair that Calvin should have the freedom to marry the person he loves, too.
It's time for marriage.
You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Happy Halloween, trick or treat, and here we go with the Bill Press Show at 33 minutes after the hour this Thursday morning. Coming to you live from our nation's capital and brought to you today by the International Association of Sheet Metal, Air, Rail, and Transportation Workers, the good men and women of the SMART Union, that's what they call themselves these days after this merger. Giving a fair day's work for a fair day's pay, you bet, under President Joseph Nigro. And you can find out more information by going to their website at smart-union.org. And We've just been talking about one of the big stories of the day. Of course, Kathleen Sebelius testifying yesterday on Capitol Hill, the debate over problems with the health exchange website continue, even though it's pretty obvious that efforts are underway to fix it. Paul Brandis has been writing about this and a lot of other good stuff, a good friend of the program. Here in studio with us, he is the publisher of West Wing Reports. He also writes for The Week, and he is a colleague of mine at the White House and the part of the White House press corps. Hey, Paul, good to see you.
How are you?
I'm good. Everything looking good.
Hey, now listen, before we start today, I got a little...
whose program is this?
He's just going to take it's okay.
Look, I got a little surprise for you. You know, you've been bugging me about this?
Yes.
You're hounding me about this. I got to tell you that I forgot. I thought I did this. I didn't. This is the ballot.
Oh my God!
See, Bill has been hounding to get on the radio seat for the White. So here it is, and I'm going to just so you see, I'm going to
just
check.
So everybody knows, I am running for the board of the White House Correspondents Association. Wait a minute, you have to do the Cyprian. You need to get a picture of this. How can we do it?
Get a shot.
So I've been bugging.
Where's your?
There you go. I have been bugging Paul for his vote.
This is nice. This is historic.
There it is.
He's got the vote. All right.
That's one more vote.
Now, do you have a stamp? I can.
Oh, my God.
I think we'll figure it out.
I think
expect me to do everything.
Yeah, what do you want?
No, but I checked. Look, I checked that's the big thing. So
I'll tell you what. No, you have to sign this.
Okay.
If you sign this,
please. By the way, please do everything like by the book here. Do it to the letter.
I'll take care
because you're on camera, so I don't want anything to get in the way of your election.
Thank you. If you print your name and then sign it, but not necessarily on the, and then we'll mail it in for you.
Okay.
How's that?
I've been waiting.
Are you sure that's legal? By the way,
what I have had to do to get a vote out of this guy, I had to mail this out. All right. I hope all of our colleagues watching recognize Paul and follow your example, and I thank you for your vote. And now, what do you want?
Wait till the cameras are off, guys.
Right. Let's talk about this healthcare. So we saw Kathleen Sebelius yesterday. Republicans, they were so thirsty for blood yesterday, right? And I thought she more than held her own. Politically, this is all going to get fixed and it's all going to move on. But then politically, how does it play out? That's what you've been writing about.
Well, the thing that surprises me is that, first of all, that this damage has been self-inflicted, which I find very surprising. You would think that given this incredibly vociferous opposition the last 3-4 years to this, that they would have made sure from the get-go that this site would have been perfect. Every line of code properly, enough servers to support all the traffic. So, this is an inside job in terms of the damage. Yeah. So they deserve every bit of scorn and derision that's been heaped
and criticism, all of that. Yeah,
That being said, this site, a couple of lines of code here and some servers there, the site will be up and running in a couple of weeks. That's what they say. So we'll wait and see. But the big picture, I think, is that when all is said and done, I mean, Obama right now, he's thinking about, as all presidents do in their second term, his legacy. 50 years from now, nobody's going to remember that the website had some issues. You're going to remember the historic piece of legislation that drove the website itself. So I think that's the big thing. And the
in the end, it's going to be a plus for Obama.
I think in the end, I do think that this website stuff, now there are these other issues about things being delayed and Medicare cuts being, let's wait and see how all that plays out. And it is true, there are going to be some losers here. There are going to be some winners too. I don't think the truth is, I don't think anybody really knows how this is all going to play out. So therefore, why reach a judgment as the Republicans have? I think you got to keep an open mind. Yeah, there are certainly problems with it. You can't deny it. But I think 5, 10, 20 years from now, this may turn out to be a big plus.
Now, for Republicans, though, this is. I mean, for almost 4 years now, this is all they've been talking about. They ran on this in 2012, lost by 5 million votes. And let's take one example. In Virginia, next Tuesday, the governor's race, Ken Cuccinelli says, let's make this a referendum on Obamacare.
In related news, he's down by 12 points. So,
right. And Republicans now in the House are saying, well, we didn't succeed in killing it this year, but we'll make it the issue in the midterm elections of 2014. How long can Republicans continue to beat this drum before they recognize it ain't working?
You know, it's not working, and
for them, right?
It's not me saying that, but the polls are saying that. There's no question that Obama has slipped in the polls since he won re-election. But guess what? Most presidents in their second term slip in office. We get tired of them. We're looking forward to the next guy. So Obama has the only presidents, in fact, who did not slip in the polls at this point in their second terms. Just two presidents since World War II have not slipped, and those were Reagan and Clinton. And they both eventually did as scandals rocked their administrations. Clinton, of course, had Monica Gate, and Iran-Contra nailed Reagan. So they both faded too. So the fact that Obama is fading now is hardly news. But if you look at how far the Republicans have faded, I mean, it makes Obama look like a walk in the park. Mm-hmm. The big picture here is that they have lost 5 out of the last 6 popular votes in presidential elections. Their message is simply not working. That's not spin. It's a fact. They've lost 5 out of 6, and yet they keep on trying the same old tactics. And they're trying to take down a guy who's retiring to Chicago, or if he's smart, to Hawaii in 39 months. They keep trying to take him down and tarnish him while not focusing on their own problems. They should get their own house in order and focus on the future. I mean, I'm of the belief that you win more votes not by pandering to fear and anger, but by actually appealing to people's hopes and aspirations. And it's interesting that the last Republican president who actually did that was Ronald Reagan. Now, all these Democrats now say, gee, where's the next Ronald Reagan coming from? Well, that's not the question. The real question is, what happened to Reagan's Republican Party? It does not exist anymore. So I think instead of trying to take down this short-timer named Barack Obama, I think they really have to look in the mirror and focus on themselves.
Well said. Well said. I mean, I always get a kick out of these Republicans who cite Ronald Reagan in saying we want to shut down the government and default on our debts, when Ronald Reagan went out there and said it would be outrageous to even consider defaulting on the debts of the United States. So I mean, they don't.
I've even heard Republicans talk about the fiscal rectitude of Ronald Reagan, and I hear them, I go, what planet are you on? Reagan tripled the debt. He tripled the debt while in office. He grew the size of the federal government. On and on. He raised gas taxes. He was also, by the way, the first cap-and-trade president. He embraced the idea of cap-and-trade. And when I tell that to Republicans, they go, oh, no, that's not true. It is true. All of those things are true. So when they say, where are the next round, they don't know what they're talking about.
Quickly, there's all this outrage over the healthcare website. Why isn't there more outrage over the revelation every day about more and more extensive spying on the part of the NSA? I mean, Angela Merkel, all of Americans' phone calls. Now this morning it's reported that they've tapped into the servers for Google and Yahoo and get every bit of information that goes out over Google and Yahoo. Just imagine how much that is, right? All those megabytes, whatever. And NSA's got access to all of them. And we don't seem to care. Should we?
Well, really, that's such a complicated. That's not a black and white kind of issue. I mean, we want to be safe. It's been 12 years since 9/11, and it's sort of like Jack Nicholson in that movie. It's like, you need me on that wall. Don't question how I provide your security. You just want it. Now you want to question the manner in which I provide. But the question is,
at what price?
The question is at what price?
Yeah.
And I think that's a worthy debate. I mean, there's no question that we do not want our individual liberties intruded upon, but at what price? The balance is, how much are we willing to give up? And it's like, I still don't know the answer.
An interesting wrinkle on that, which sort of relates to what we said about the quoting of Ronald Reagan, is the Al Jazeera, who didn't have room for us on their network, but we still give them credit here. They got a document through the Freedom of Information Act from NSA, talking points 27 pages of talking points on how to defend NSA's activities. I'll just read from the document.
Okay.
And under one headline, sound bites that resonate. They suggested that people, when they go out and testify or talk to reporters, use this line. I much prefer to be here today explaining these programs than explaining another 9/11 event that we were not able to prevent. I mean, so here it is, September 11th, September 11th, September 11th. I mean, this sounds to me, this is the Obama administration so much like the George Bush administration.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's it, right? Remember, September 11th, we kept hearing that, everything. Iraq War, September 11th. NSA, September 11th. I don't know. I don't know whether Congress will ever deal with it either.
Well, they've all, these things are all codified and these things are the law, but the problem is the NSA, for people who don't know really what it is. I mean, there are 16 U.S. intelligence agencies, count them, 16. It is by far the biggest, and yet we know the least about it.
Right.
There's very little transparency. It has a huge number. You've been to the parking lot at Fort Meade. I mean, it's just absolutely gigantic. And I think that I really think they are not listening in on every phone. It's just too many, just too much volume. When they say we're looking for patterns of behavior, I'm willing to believe that simply because the volume is simply so great. Now, this issue of listening into Angela Merkel's phone calls, exciting as that must be, the fact is that our technology has gotten so good in the last 10 years that we can do so much that I think they're probably like kids with a toy, seeing what they can do with it.
And an Italian magazine reports this morning they were even listening in on the Pope. Talk about exciting phone conversation. Paul Brandis is here in studio with us from West Wing Reports. Join us, the conversation here, 866-55-PRESS. We got a seat for the table for you right here, and to talk about NSA or healthcare exchanges. Plus, Paul features one person as the Hypocrite of the Month. We'll find out who it is this month when we come back.
This is the Bill Press Show.
So this is my computer.
This is your computer. Let's go on the internet.
Let's go. Click it.
Yes.
Okay.
I cursor in between the R and the E. Pressing down, I want you to just push the period.
She's gonna love me all over again.
That's it. Jamaica, here you go.
Here we go.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. And I did it by myself. Feel smarter.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay. So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Hey, thanks for stopping by. I followed your character since the first episode. I'm a big fan. Big fan.
Thank you.
And listen, your storyline, it makes for incredible TV drama. Thing is, your drug use is very adult content. Too adult for the kids. So I'm gonna have to block you.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, have a good one.
You're a nice lady.
seen on Free Speech TV and online on TawkrTV. This is the Bill Press Show.
Hey, it's 11 minutes before the top of the hour. Here we go on a Thursday morning with Paul Brandis from West Wing Reports in studio here with us. There are so many candidates, Paul, for Hypocrite of the Month. Now, you started this right here last month on our show. I forget who it was, though. It was, remind me.
Some slimy congressman, I think, I can't even remember.
I remember it was Gingrey. It was Phil Gingrey.
Phil Gingrey, that's Gingrey. Georgia. That's right.
That poll.
Phil Gingrey, right. Okay.
Who was complaining about how his staffers were going to go out and cash in, and he had to survive on $170,000 a year. And it was like, aw.
Right. Okay.
Poor baby.
All right. So this is a big hit parade here. All right. How are we doing for this month?
Well, this was kind of there's always a long list of contenders, and I thought about actually going outside the box. I thought that Jamie Dimon might be kind of it's got to be kind of a political figure, I think. So I realized that here's the hook. The food stamp program tomorrow, November 1st, is going to get these big cuts starting tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Everybody on food stamps will be cut.
It's going to be, yeah. And there, I understand. I agree. There's probably a little bit of waste in every government program. It's like I don't question that. But that being said, is that an excuse to deny, food to 1/5 of the children in this country? Go to bed with what they call food insecurity. They're not sure where their next meal is coming from.
Know.
It's a scandal. It's a scandal in this country. So I thought that one of the guys who is leading the charge to cut food stamps just down the road here from Charlottesville, Virginia, of course, Eric Cantor, the House Majority Leader.
Is he really?
Who is really one of the... Yeah, he really is. And here's some data that I found out about Eric Cantor. Now, first of all, Eric Cantor is worth about $3 million. So the guy can buy his own cornflakes, okay? The guy's worth $3 million. Every week, according to data that I dug up, his staff spends, and this is taxpayer funded, about $600 a week on coffee and bagels at meetings and conferences and everything. It's about $125 a day that they spend. So it's about $600 a week, which coincidentally is about the amount of money that some families are going to be cut from starting tomorrow. Now, the hypocrisy of that is that not hypocrisy? Now, the fact is that Eric Cantor, again, who makes a good salary, he's worth
$175 plus.
He's worth about $3 million. The average food stamp benefit in his district in Virginia is about $4.23. $4.23. So they're going to whack that while his staff, which is already earning a paycheck, by the way, a pretty good paycheck and can afford their own food, they keep on spending and spending on the taxpayer dime. So to me...
They have this little $600 slush fund, really.
Yeah. So if you're on Eric Cantor's payroll and you're getting your paycheck, today's the last, maybe you're probably getting paid today. It's October 31st, right? They're getting their paycheck, and yet they don't have to spend it on, say, a latte every morning or a bagel. Why? Because he has this slush fund supported by the taxpayer that allows him to do that. So to me, that earns him the hypocrite of the month. I mean, what a hypocrite.
I know, totally well-deserved. And, Eric Cantor, I'm glad you picked him because he kind of runs under the radar, right? People talk about Boehner, right, all the time, or Marsha Blackburn, or Michelle Bachmann, or Steve King.
Who's leaving.
Yeah, but then there's this Eric Cantor, and I think he gets away with a lot.
I think he's...
Until now.
Well, what bugs me about him is not just things like that. I mean, the hypocrisy is just, he's so smug and so sure of himself. And speaking of Boehner, by the way, I think what he'd secretly like to do is take Boehner down. He wants to be the first Jewish House Speaker. That's fine, but, I think there's so much dirty laundry on him that has to come out.
All right.
And this is one thing here.
You heard it here first from West Wing Reports and Paul Brandis. People can find you at westwingreports.com, right?
And with an S, but on Twitter, it's West Wing Report.
Okay. On Twitter,
they must follow on Twitter, by the way. You got to follow him on Twitter.
at West Wing Report and online at westwingreports.com. Paul Brandis, good to see you, friend. Thank you. Thank you again for your vote. All right, here we go.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Okay, ready for hour number 3? Yes, indeed, we are, if you are, but we're going to lose you on Free Speech TV, so just switch over to TawkrTV, and you can continue to watch the video stream at youtube.com/TawkrTV. And 2 powerful guests in the next hour, Eleanor Smeal, who is head of the Feminist majority, here to talk about the issues at stake in the Virginia governor's race, and the Reverend Barry Lynn, head of Americans United for Separation of Church and State. Stay tuned.
I wish I was in school. If only I had a math test today.
Or a book report to give.
I wish I was in school. I'll stay after class. I'll clean the chalkboard. I'll do extra homework. I'll skip recess. I wish I was in school.
I wish I was in school.
I really wish I was in school.
School ends, but free lunches for your kids don't have to. Find your local food bank at feedingamerica.org/summer meals for help. Together, we're feeding America.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where that ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
This is the Bill Press Show.
President Obama gives a big speech today to the Select USA Investor Summit here in Washington at 1:30 this afternoon. And then he'll be meeting with the Senator-elect from New Jersey, Cory Booker. It's Halloween, and the President and the First Lady will welcome selected trick-or-treaters at the White House starting at 5:15 this afternoon. Members of military families and their children. That's a tradition at the White House. We will be sitting down with Jay Carney, press secretary, for our press briefing at noon today.
This is the Bill Press Show. Broadcasting around the nation, on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is the Bill Press Show.
Trick or treat. Yep, it's Halloween 2013. Good morning, everybody. Thursday, of course, October 31. Good to see you today. Welcome to the Full Court Press here. And the latest news from NSA is they weren't just content with spying on Angela Merkel's cell phone. They also were spying on the Pope. NSA tracking the conversations from the conclave where Francis was elected to succeed Benedict XVI. Is nobody sacred anymore? Apparently not if you work for the NSA. It's the Bill Press Show. We're coming to you live from our nation's capital, bringing you the news of the day and getting your comments at 866-55-PRESS. That's our toll-free number. On Twitter, you can reach us at BP Show, and on Facebook at facebook.com/Bill Press Show. Good to see you, whether you're listening on your local progressive talk radio station. Good morning. That's who we are, a national radio show. Or you could also be watching us on the video stream at TawkrTV, youtube.com/TawkrTV. And whether you're listening or watching, join me in welcoming a good friend of the program, a great leader for progressive issues, feminist issues in this country. Eleanor Smeal is president of the Feminist Majority, founder and president, I guess I should say. Hi, Ellie. Great to see you.
Good seeing you, Bill.
Thanks for coming in again. We've been at this a long time, you know, haven't we?
Yeah, we're keeping on fighting.
Fighting the good fight, indeed. And our team is here, as always. Peter Ogburn leading it up.
Hey.
With Alicia Cruz on the phones, and Cyprian Bolding.
There he is. Yes, he is in full
Cyprian
costume.
Cyprian is the only one who's come in full costume today.
Oh, my goodness.
I think he looks like Whoopi Goldberg. I'm not sure who he's trying to be here this morning. And
you have to watch today.
Yeah, it's a big day today, but it was a bigger day yesterday in Boston. Yep, they went from worst to first, wrapping it up last night. Here's the final call in that game. Dave O'Brien is his name. Dave O'Brien on WEEI up in Boston.
Koji ready. He turns on the rubber. The 2-2 home. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. The 2013 Red Sox are the world champions and Boston strong. Bedlam at Fenway Park as the Red Sox clinch the World Series at Fenway for the first time in 95 years.
Wow. Sports announcers get to have all the fun. They do.
By the way, I had to pull it because I pulled a clip since we last talked about this. This is great because David Ortiz was named MVP. Big Papi.
Rightfully so.
Had a legendary postseason. So you remember the last time that he was in the headlines was after the Boston bombings, and when the Red Sox played, he came out and said, "This is our effing city," that went unbleeped on a lot of stations. So last night, after they won, he grabbed the microphone and said, "This is our bleep city," which is great.
Oh, that is great, boy! What a classic guy. And
95 years.
It's incredible.
95 years ago.
No wonder
won.
Kerry said, Secretary of State Kerry said it was a big deal.
Yeah, right. And that was when they won the World Series the last time. And after last season, they were the worst in the
worst team in baseball.
Team in baseball and World Series champs this year. It's just phenomenal. Yeah, phenomenal story. It really is. Ellie Smeal here with us this first half hour, and then the Reverend Barry Lynn.
Oh, Barry's here.
Another great progressive from head of Americans United for for the separation of church and state will be along in the second half hour. But first, Peter brings us up to date on the big stories of the day.
Yes, indeed. A few other quick stories. Speaking of the Red Sox, some people credit their successful season to their playoff beards. If you watched any of the World Series, you noticed that some of the players looked kind of homeless with their big facial beards. But the President, Obama, he was in Boston yesterday afternoon, and he mentioned that the beards worked out so well for the Sox that maybe he should grow one. However, he said, quote, "I tried to grow a beard, but Michelle, she wasn't having it. So he wanted to grow one, she didn't want one, so they compromised, and he didn't grow one."
I think we know who's in charge.
Yes,
Ellie,
indeed.
I don't want him to have a beard. No.
I don't either, no. We say farewell to AI, not American Idol, but Allen Iverson, the man that LeBron James once called pound for pound the best player ever in the NBA. He called it quits yesterday. It's been 3 years since he wore a jersey, so people might have already thought that he had retired. Iverson racked up 11 All-Star nods and an MVP award in 14 seasons. Over those seasons, he spent 12 of them as a Philadelphia 76er, which is where he retired last night.
He's a great, great player. Just haven't seen him for a while, but...
Yeah, phenomenal guy in his time. And one Houston family strikes gold. When an anonymous Houston, Texas man passed away, his family was clearing out his garage, and they found a 3,000-pound safe. When the family gave it to a friend to dispose of as scrap metal, the friend wanted to find out what was in the safe, so he took it to a locksmith. That locksmith spent 20 hours cracking the safe open, and when he opened it, he discovered $2.5 million worth of rare coins.
Get out of here.
Houston police got involved. They took the coins into custody temporarily, but then released the treasure back to the family. No word on if they plan on splitting that with the friend or the locksmith that got it open.
I would hope they would get a
They gave it away for scrap metal.
Whoa.
They told a friend, take this and get rid of it for scrap metal.
They
and inside
didn't realize
of it was
that their father was a coin collector?
I guess not. I guess not. $2.5 million.
I think I want to go back and look through my father's house again.
Right? Leave no stone unturned.
That's right. Maybe. So, Ellie, I'm so glad you're in today because we talked before about the importance of this governor's race in Virginia, and now it's looming, right? It's Tuesday, and there's a lot at stake. Terry McAuliffe, Democrat, versus Ken Cuccinelli, Republican. But Cuccinelli's not just a Republican. I mean, he's the extreme right of the party,
Very extreme right. Oh, my goodness.
What are some of the issues?
Every issue, almost. Well, it's like on abortion, he wants a total ban, even for rape and incest. He's the one that railroaded through the TRAP law, which is going to, if it goes into effect next year, would close most of the clinics in the state. He's also
passed through the legislature.
Yeah, passed through the legislature, but the Board of Health had voted for existing clinics to be grandfathered in. Because these rules are just ridiculous. You have to have essentially a surgery center. And anyway,
This is similar to what they did in Texas, I guess, too,
but
right?
this is the catch, is that Cuccinelli, when they voted for it to be grandfathered in, he said that he wouldn't defend them. They might be sued. And he essentially bullied them into reversing their vote single-handedly. But he's also for the personhood amendment, which would outlaw most forms of birth control. He's
not just abortion, but birth control, contraception. Yeah,
this is the guy also on violence against women. There's nothing on the women's rights side that would be safe with him. On the Violence Against Women Act, only 3 attorney generals in the whole country would not sign a bipartisan letter urging its reauthorization. He, of course, would not sign it. He's not for equal pay, for equal work. He's another one of those that won't say anything on it. He's on gun control. My goodness, no gun control. Essentially, immigration. He's led the fight. He wants no benefits at all in any way for a non-documented worker. In fact, he would like to change the 14th Amendment so that if you're born in the United States, you're not automatically a citizen. He wants you to have parents who are citizens. Anyway, it goes on. He's very extreme.
Very extreme. And yet, the poll at the beginning, there have been 2 polls this week, I guess what I was saying. And it's a little disturbing because the one poll, the Washington Post poll, said Terry McAuliffe, that was the headline, McAuliffe has a 12-point lead in Virginia.
Right.
But in the last couple of days, we've seen another poll come out that's a lot closer.
Right. One just came out that's 6 points. I really feel that people do not know how extreme this is, and the race doesn't get enough attention. Remember, it's 2013. It's Northern Virginia, where a lot of the votes are. You essentially have national television. There's not a feature on just it. So it's worrisome. But what's even worse, in my opinion, is there's 3 races. and one of them for the Attorney General.
So you have governor, lieutenant governor, right, and attorney general.
Attorney General.
Yeah.
The Attorney General is just as extreme. There's two Marks in it. Mark Herring is the Democrat. He's for gun control. He's for women's rights. Very vigorous on reducing violence against women. He's for gay marriage. Essentially, he's a progressive, but he's earned his stripes. He's in the Senate, etc. His opponent, extreme. Just as extreme as Cuccinelli.
A Cuccinelli kind
in every way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's openly opposed, for example, for any kind of affirmative action for women or minority-owned businesses. These folks are all against equal pay regulations or enforcing employment discrimination.
And what's his name, the Republican?
His name is also Mark. It's Obenshine. But it's Mark Herring that's the important one. But then you have a lieutenant governor's race. That is, I don't know how this guy got on the ballot. His name is, the Republican is Bishop Jackson, Bishop R.W. Jackson.
E.W. Jackson.
E.W.
Because some people say you, Jackson.
Oh.
Yeah, right. You. Yeah.
I mean, he is so extreme on every issue. The one that just draws me over the bend is his issue that is just incredible, is that he is worried that yoga has a satanic nature.
Yoga?
Yoga.
How many millions of Americans are involved in yoga?
Because somehow you creates a vacuum in your abdomen or midsection that the devil can enter.
That the devil rushes in?
Yeah. But like on the Attorney General guy, he's very extreme on, and what was his? Oh, he actually introduced a law in the Senate, didn't pass, that if you have a miscarriage, the woman has to report it to the police within 24 hours.
Right.
And there was such a hue and cry, he withdraws it. But that he even thinks like that.
Yeah, and what was the reason why you have to report it to the police?
Oh, you got to find out if that was a miscarriage or an abortion. That's how anti-abortion he is. What are we going to do? Criminalize every miscarriage?
Aside from the wrongness of that as an idea, like as a conservative, I mean, I can't imagine conservatives would buy into that.
Well, conservatives always give the lip service to, we don't want big government. We don't want big government. Right. Unless until it becomes a woman's body or the bedroom, right?
That's right.
Then they want government standing alongside of every bed.
Right. And talk about an invasion of privacy. It's just ridiculous. And when you think that 40%, it's about 40% of pregnancies end up in a miscarriage. It's a huge percentage. It's not a little thing. I mean, the whole thing is just so outrageous. Woman has enough to worry about if she's had a miscarriage. She's supposed to report it in 24 hours, and then what are they going to do?
Now, here's the thing. This election, it is being held in Virginia, and it is important. We have 2 Democratic senators in Virginia. We get a Democratic governor. But it has...
you have a Republican governor now.
I'm sorry. If we get a Democratic governor, then Virginia, I guess you can call it a blue state. But my point is, this has ramifications.
Absolutely.
Nationwide, doesn't it? What happens here? Because if Cuccinelli were to win, that would be a green light to governors around the country.
It's a red light. I mean, it's a green light to any kind of ridiculous legislation you can think of against women. You can discuss, or more than that, you can pass. But it would be a turn to the right-wing extremism. But also, do you remember what happened in 2010? 2010, it was the 2009 Virginia elections that started to sweep to the Republicans. That's one where McDonald wins. In my opinion, he wins by pretending to be a moderate. Mm-hmm. I mean, all these folks, they project a more moderate image during the election than where they are.
Oh, yeah, and that's what Cuccinelli has tried to do, too.
That's right.
But for the last 4 years, we've seen the real Cuccinelli.
The real Cuccinelli is extreme, and the same thing with McDonald. He tried to act like he was a moderate. He wasn't a moderate.
So this is the big governor's race here. We're talking about some of the issues at stake, and also the significance of it and the importance of it nationwide in terms of, I think, both for the Tea Party, because Cuccinelli is a Tea Party, and for the Republican Party, because if this is the direction they're going to go, What does it mean?
And they put up this most extreme ticket. They know what they did. This is all three of them are extreme Tea Party people.
All three.
Absolutely.
All three, the whole ticket. As far right as you can get.
Go.
Will it work? I'll learn Smeal here from the Feminist Majority. Join the conversation at 866-55-PRESS. Important whether you live in Virginia or not.
This is the Bill Press Show. Seen on Free Speech TV and online on TawkrTV. This is the Bill Press Show.
Got it. 25 minutes after the hour, big governor's race in Virginia. We're talking about the implications of it and the national ramifications of it with Eleanor Smeal, president of the Feminist Majority. That's feminist.org, where you can follow all the important issues. I'm sorry?
On our political stuff, it's feministmajority.org.
Okay, Feminist Majority. Sorry, this is not correct. Feministmajority.org. I'll chastise our producer, Peter Ogburn, for that.
Very sorry for that.
To follow all the political stuff, not only in Virginia, but around the country. And, one of our great affiliates is AM 1350 in Albuquerque, New Mexico, where there's an important issue on the ballot right now.
Very big issue, going to be on the November 19th ballot. It is a
so
special election.
So it's not the first Tuesday. No.
This
November.
is a special election, which I'm very worried because when you put it on such an unusual day, it depresses voter turnout.
Oh, of course. They do it often deliberately.
That's
right?
what I believe. I mean, here you are, and it's November 19th. It's an election. It's on a ban on abortion at 20 or after weeks. And no exception for rape, no exceptions for incest or the health of the woman. And it's aimed at a clinic right there. But it has language in it that's very troubling. For women.
Now, can the city enact its own law on?
Well, that's what they're trying.
I mean, there is the Supreme Court decision. Let's not forget,
that's right?
This
is a clear violation of Roe v. Wade.
Yeah.
And it means there'll be litigation, but it interferes with a woman's decision and doctors' decisions. And as I said, the health of the mother is in total danger, as well as very troubling, very difficult pregnancies.
I mean, that was one of the reasons for Roe v. Wade was to get away from this, but that state by state or
now you're
county,
going city by city.
I was going to say, or county by county. Now we're going city by city. Different regulations. I mean,
right. It's a Republican city council, and you have to worry now. We'll be pushing obviously to get the vote out, but basically it has a very deceiving title. It's talking about fetal pain, which is, of course, never been proven. Mm-hmm. And so it's a deceiving title and a complicated issue.
So that's that special issue. Pay attention to a lot of our good friends out in Albuquerque on
vote
no on November 19th. Ellie Smeal, thanks for all your good work and your leadership on so many issues. Good luck in Virginia. Thanks for coming in.
This is the Bill Press Show.
J. Farr.
your radio, on TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
How about it? 33 minutes after the hour, trick or treat. It is Halloween, October 31, and the Bill Press Show. We just roll right through the news of the day. As always, good to have you with us. We're coming to you live from our nation's capital, our studio on Capitol Hill, Washington, D.C. Congress is out of session. They left last night. They had got to go home and trick or treat in their own district. And we're brought to you today by Ullico Incorporated, the good men and women of Ullico under President Ed Smith, proudly serving the union workplace now for more than 85 years, providing specialty insurance, risk solutions, investment products, and services for working men and women around the country. And you can find out more about their good work at their website, Ullico, U-L-L-I-C-O, ullico.com. Solutions for the union workplace. Big challenge, big issues coming up in front of the Supreme Court next week on the issue of separation of church and state. One of the organizations that I am proud to be a member of and encourage you all to support and to join, Americans United for Separation of Church and State. The Reverend Barry Lynn is the founder and executive director and is in studio with us this morning. Barry Lynn, good to see you.
Terrific. It's nice to be back.
Yeah, good to have you back. A radio talk show host, should add, in your own right. You have your own weekly show, right?
Yeah, we've been changing it a bit. I've been at it for a long time.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Longer.
Absolutely. Because there's so much money in it.
Exactly.
Maybe you could teach Mr. Press a few things here.
We call each other we call each other veteran talk
show hosts.
Veteran talk show hosts. All right. So this case, Barry. Now this is Americans United in the Supreme Court, right?
Correct. It is, and this is a case involving two women who went to their town council meeting in Greece, New York.
New York.
Yep, near Rochester, New York. And notice that there were always Christian prayers being prayed. And up until 1999, the town council of Greece, like so many other small municipalities around the country, had a moment of silence to begin their legislative work, to solemnize the occasion. But then, all of a sudden, with a slightly new configuration of members on the town council, they started to have a prayer. And indeed, it was always a Christian prayer. When in 2007, to show you that the wheels of justice do run slowly. 2007, we proceeded to file this lawsuit. That 1 year, the town of Greece managed to find not a rabbi, but a Jewish person who could pray, who did a prayer. A Wiccan priestess did a prayer, and that was the end of diversity. There's no diversity. Every other prayer during the record of this case was a Christian prayer. And why does it matter? It matters, I think, because the people who go to these little town council meetings are one of three kinds of people. People who are being sworn in to serve the city, young people, kids in high school who need to go there for part of their civics requirement, and people with business before the court. Now, if any of those people would, for example, when the local minister giving the prayer that day says, please join me, bow your head, as many of them do, if you don't participate in that and you're looking for a zoning variance or you're looking for an A in civics, you got a problem. You feel like an outsider.
Sure. I'm sure that if you got a business guy who were, God forbid, talking during the prayer, or looking around, or just not showing the right reverence, that would influence the council to vote against him.
Absolutely, and the people on the other side.
I hadn't thought of it that way, but
I mean, this is actually what we think is the strongest argument before the court. The Second Circuit Court of Appeals, where we had won unanimously before the Supreme Court, of course, took the case, decided to hear it again, but they said, how could you not, if you're a person looking in that city town council chamber, you look at the podium, it's got the seal of Greece, New York on it, and there's a minister who almost inevitably is going to be preaching or making a statement in support of Jesus Christ. How could you not think that the government of Greece had endorsed that idea? So there are all kinds of constitutional defects in this case. I'm sad to say the Department of Justice has come in on the wrong side. They have come in to support this legislative prayer practice, and we were quite frankly shocked by that.
Well, so you won at the first court level, lower court level. Then they appealed it to the district court, right?
They appealed to the Second Circuit, right?
Second Circuit.
Right. We win there.
And you win there unanimously.
Yep.
Then the city of Greece
appeals again. Yep, to the U.S. Supreme Court.
All right, so is this like the National League of Cities or anything, or is this one?
No, this is one small town. I'm sure that many people in the town are very nice people.
But why would the Supreme Court take this case? I mean,
the Supreme Court is trying to figure out under what circumstances legislative prayer is permissible. Now, as we know, there are prayers in Congress, but the difference.
I was going to get there. Yeah,
but the difference here is when the Supreme Court, whether we like it or not, has said if a legislative body decides to have a prayer, decides to hire a chaplain like the House and Senate do, and the prayers are essentially given to the members, not that anybody, as we both know, show up to hear the prayer, but in theory, they could show up and hear the prayer. In these circumstances in Greece, New York, the prayer is uttered not for the benefit of the city council. In fact, the prayer, the minister, is not even looking at them. He's looking out at the audience, the people with business before the body. It is for the public benefit and the public promotion of these prayers, these highly sectarian prayers, really makes this vastly different than just listening to some guy on C-SPAN, where if you're sitting at home listening or you're a member of Congress watching it, it has limited, if any, effect on you at all.
So you are asking what relief?
We're asking for the court to make it clear that a process needs to be in place where if you're going to do this at all, you can have non-sectarian prayers only, and that they cannot be directed at the public. They need to be kind of in-house with the members of the town council itself.
Why wouldn't you take the position no prayer, period?
Well, I mean, frankly, because we already are building on a floor that is a little decrepit, and it's the floor that says under some circumstances legislative prayer is permissible. But we're trying to show, as you and I just talked about, that this is a coercive matter. The people here have business, and the people who have business before this town council cannot get made to feel like second-class citizens because they can't or they won't participate, prayer being, as you and I know, a participatory event. They can't participate in something with which their conscience disagrees.
So this big issue, which has been debated on so many different venues, about forced prayer, basically, whether it's school, now here it's a legislative body, gets its way all the way to the Supreme Court of the United States, where we have a Democrat, a progressive in the White House, and you're telling me that Barack Obama is on the side of Greece and not on the side of Americans United?
That is sad but true. It was kind of the final announcement was made, as sometimes politicians do. Why? There seems to be some sense that this has an effect. Of course he is.
And he's a Christian.
Of course he is.
And we know that, and he does go to church. He went to church last Sunday, not every Sunday. He's not a Catholic. He doesn't have to. But went last Sunday, and he has a group of ministers that he confides with every once in a while. So we know that. But I mean, this crosses the line.
I do think this administration has a little fear because of all of the lies told about Barack Obama, about his religion or what kind of religion he has, all the lies and the fact that 30% of Americans still think he's a Muslim and all that. He's very sensitive, but he's making some policy decisions like this one that are bad. They're not going after these absolutely corrupt 501c3 organizations. This has nothing to do with what happened earlier this year. Churches that actually endorse candidates and have said, among other things, some of the rudest things in the last election cycle about Barack Obama, and specifically told their whole congregations not to vote for him. This is illegal. They're not cracking down on that. They haven't fixed the so-called faith-based initiative where we're doling out hundreds of millions of dollars to groups that wouldn't hire you or me because we're of the wrong religion. These are administrative changes that could be made. They're relatively simple. It's not rocket science. It's not even fixing the health care databases. This is real simple stuff, but I think he's concerned, he's nervous about it because it touches on this issue of religion where he feels some vulnerability. But it's time to kind of get off of that and on to fixing these issues.
866-55-PRESS is our toll-free number. These issues of church and state and that important wall, which Thomas Jefferson first spoke about, it's so fundamental to me, so fundamental to who we are as a country, and whether we really believe in what our founding fathers established in the Constitution. And it keeps coming up and up and up. And here we are now in the Supreme Court, and the Obama administration on the wrong side of the issue. What the hell's going on? 866-55-PRESS. God spare us. Let's talk about it when we come back with the Reverend Barry Lynn from Americans United, AU.org.
This is the Bill Press Show. Seen on Free Speech TV and online on TawkrTV. This is the Bill Press Show.
13 minutes before the top of the hour, the Reverend Barry Lynn, Americans United for Separation of Church and State, joined me as a member of AU. It's very, very important, AU.org. Barry Lynn, you know one thing that, so we're talking about the Supreme Court, and we'll be watching that. Arguments next Wednesday.
On Wednesday, correct.
So if the Obama administration is against you, who's your lawyer?
We have a wonderful legal team. Our legal director Aisha Khan, Doug Laycock, who's a very moderate constitutional law professor from the University of Virginia, is going to argue the case.
Good.
And he, he's won many cases. He's argued many cases in the court, and he is. But he's certainly. We have some points of disagreement on other matters, but this one's so clear. It's so obvious that, from a common sense as well as a constitutional perspective, you cannot say there's no problem when you have these prayers, as I said, almost always and inevitably Christian prayers, directed at the very people that are, in a sense, a captive audience. They need to be there. They're the kids who need the credit for their high school civics, or they're the people who have a zoning variance, or they need help for their special needs child, and they need to go and make their pitch to the court.
Well, this case sort of helps make the argument that the influence of the religious right in this country, which you and I have seen,
of course,
ebb a little bit, but it looks to me like they're coming back stronger than ever, right? And we had the Values Voter Summit not so long ago here in Washington, so the religious right has still got a stranglehold in the Republican Party, doesn't it?
No, they certainly do. And I had thought that perhaps with the Tea Party...
Even Ralph Reed is back.
Ralph Reed is sadly back with us, yes.
Yeah.
I had thought that maybe in the Tea Party explosions over the last few years, some of these people would be so libertarian that they would understand that big religion applied to big government is really doubly terrible for them. But with the exception of Republican from Michigan, Justin Armash, who's really quite good on church-state issues, all of these guys fall lockstep on almost every issue with the religious right. And so that powerful bloc that's always been 20 to 21% of the American electorate and a near predominance in the Republican Party is still in control completely of the Republican Party and the Republican Party primaries.
So is it a religious right Tea Party kind of fusion here?
Yeah, it is, and in fact, the Alliance Defending Freedom, formerly called the Alliance Defense Fund, but for some inexplicable reason they changed their name. They are helping the town of Greece, and then, of course, so the town of Greece will be arguing for part of their time, and the Assistant Solicitor General representing the U.S. government, sadly, on the wrong side, will also be given some time to speak during the oral argument. Bill, there have been two great books that came out in the last 6 months about the Roberts Court, but there's no chapter in either one of them, and I've talked to both of the people who've written them. I said, well, by the time the paperback edition comes out, you can add a chapter on religion and the Roberts Court, because Roberts not only will have this case in Greece, New York, but very likely one of those contraceptive mandate cases that you and I have talked about before, where a purely secular employer says, yeah, I know the company may be secular, but I'm a good Catholic, or I'm a good Mennonite. In one case is about a Mennonite, and I don't want to cover contraceptive for my women employees, even if I only have two, or in the case of Hobby Lobby, they have tens of thousands. One of those cases is very likely also this term to get to the United States Supreme Court and to be argued late in the spring. So this could be a very big year for redefining what the First Amendment means.
And coming up with the primaries next year, I mean, I know from reading Americans United magazine, these far right, extreme right, whatever religious churches, they're still... They're endorsing candidates, aren't they?
Of course they are.
Yeah,
of course they are.
Total violation of the Constitution.
Absolutely. It would take one change in one regulation to restart real investigations and enforcement of the law that prohibits this. This is not this weed-filled issue of so-called C4s and social organizations. This is real simple. It's a clean line. If you get a tax exemption, a full-blown tax exemption, a C3, like almost every church in the country gets automatically, you cannot endorse or oppose candidates. You cannot say, don't vote for Barack Obama, as in one of the cases that we filed with the IRS. Barack Obama was called Hitler-like and Stalin-like by one priest in the same sermon. So he was really going all over the map. In another one, he was called a baby killer and a homosexual lover by a North Carolina pastor from the pulpit who said you can't vote for such people, and then went on to express his view that gay people should be enclosed in large cages.
I remember this guy.
So that they can...
Yeah.
Remember that guy?
Cages. No, I remember
the
that.
cage man. Well, the cage man can be stupid and biologically idiotic. He said that he acted like you could only end up with a gay child if you were gay and you had the child. I mean, he was so wrong. But you can be stupid in America. What you can't be is to then announce that the only person you can vote for is not Barack Obama. So Democrats and Republicans have a reason to make sure that this line is not crossed. The enforcement of this law requires changing a tiny regulation. 3 monkeys, 3 typewriters, a half hour. They could fix it. But again, this administration sadly has delayed and delayed and delayed doing the right thing on this one issue of religion on which they seem to be particularly sensitive.
Just maybe a little spooked about going near that one area. I don't know why.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe it's the fact that 30% of Americans seem to think Barack Obama is not a member of the very church in which I am allowed to preach every once in a while, the United Church of Christ, very progressive church, but that he is, in fact, a Muslim
In
secretly.
the steps of James Madison and Thomas Jefferson, I am glad you're out there still fighting the good fight, Barry Lynn. You haven't been around as long as they have, but you have picked up the torch. And
I'm really working on it. We're going to try to keep doing it till we get it right. And it is an issue, this separation of church and state. When it is not separated, it taints every institution. It taints the way we deal with the poor, and on and on and on.
Absolutely. Thank you for your leadership.
Thanks,
AU.org, folks. Thanks for coming in, Barry Lynn. Good luck next week in the court.
Thank you.
I'll be back with a quick parting shot.
This is the Bill Press Show. The Parting Shot with Bill Press. This is the Bill Press Show.
Hey, just a quick parting shot to say how ridiculous it was yesterday. You know, Ted Cruz, Rand Paul, Mitch McConnell, they all tried to kill Obamacare. So yesterday, and failed. Yesterday, Republicans rolled out their big gun. Yeah, Mitt Romney. Can you believe it? Mitt Romney, who came out and said, I don't like this Obamacare thing. Did Mitt Romney forget? Obamacare is patterned after Romney Care, which he passed in Massachusetts. It's working in Massachusetts. It will work nationwide as well. No wonder nobody listens to Mitt Romney anymore about anything. Hey, folks, Halloween. Go out and have a hell of a good Halloween and come back and see us right here again
Is the
tomorrow
Bill
morning.
Press Show.